All right, guys, so we're back.
Yeah.
At the tachometer here of my R90/6 BMW, we have already worked on the speedometer, which internally is already reassembled with new lubrication in a repair of a plastic part. This is all good to go. We just need to figure out the dial situation and if I want to repaint the needle on those hands. And I think I want to because they are kind of ugly. The dial probably will clean up with just some water. So we're going to do the same as we did initially. We get a watch repair dial protector on here. Then we're going to grab our watch hand removal levers and we'll see if we can. No, we'll have to use the ugly big ones. They look like they are made to scoop ice cream or something. Okay, here we go. No, still not. Not big enough. Not scoopy enough. What am I going to do now? This looks like someone has already messed with this before. I really do not want to break the hand. So maybe we can do it this here. No, that's really tight. Leveraging here. So we're going to put a piece of wood under the levers. Bling! Oh, yep. That came off. That's good. Okay. And then we're going to grab all this and throw it over here. And find a screwdriver that fits. Don't mess up those screws, Heiko. I don't even know if it's focused on you guys, for you guys. No, oh, I do not want to strip those out. Oh my goodness, they were tight. All right, these probably have never been apart. That actually looks like there is some Loctite on those, or some sort of something. Yellow in color, kind of like the paint. Oops. Okay. All right, now I'm going to take the dial off and park it out of the way. And our hand here also out of the way. So this looks a little different than on the speedometer because we don't have the odometer portion of it. But really, honestly, the mechanism, how this needle is moved up and down, is exactly the same as on the speedometer. So the tachometer and speedometer, the bridge is the same. The spring mechanism up there is the same. Looks very, very much the same. I would not be surprised if this bridge part here is actually identical because it's driven by a cable. It's just a spinning cable with a certain gear ratio. So I think we're going to leave this white plastic part, which is just there to put a light bulb under the high beam. There's a blue filter in here. It says beam, right? It's for a high beam. This is a little on the crusty side here. Let's see, is this dust or is it rust? It's rust. Okay. I guess we'll live with that. So now I'm going to try to get this upside down here and take all the screws out that we had to take out of the speedometer. Let's see if we have to focus you guys a little more. Here we go. No, bigger screwdriver needed. This definitely has been apart before. I can tell. The screws don't look virgin anymore. And nope. There you go. So that's the long one and the short one. And that should come apart. And look, all this messy grease in there. Yikes. So pretty much same story as before. All needs to come apart without destroying anything. Oh, loose. Yikes. Lift off. Yeah, okay. Let's put this out of the danger zone here. And oh, the screws fall out. This looks much cleaner than the speedometer. There are no metal particles stuck to the mag. I take that back. There's actually something here, like little slivers of dust, metal dust. So we're gonna do the same thing as before. This will come. Let's start with this one here. Now the white plastic piece is a little in the way, but we're going to live with it. Nope, that won't do it. This one. There you go. Just a couple turns. That should get this whole thing here loose. Yep, and there it is. So we can take this apart and clean this off, and then clean the housing and that little bearing down there. Okay. Let's do that. Hey guys, so I have added a little freeze frame here because I discovered while I was working on the tachometer that the parts are virtually identical. Of course, there are slight differences because the tachometer doesn't have a odometer, so it's not counting your miles and all that. So that whole mechanism is missing, of course. But the rest of the drive, the housing, all the cleaning methods that I used are identical. The same lubrication went on it. So I spare you guys the agony of watching me take this apart. All my, kind of lame jokes and comments on the parts. And we're picking it back up where I actually have the tachometer, drive and all that back assembled, and then we're going to do something else. So you don't need to watch the same cleaning process twice. So literally the only difference is that the odometer part with the mile counter and all that is missing, and the whole assembly is therefore a little easier, a little bit less points of lubrication. All right, let's pick it back up where I'm actually starting to do something else. Click. No. There you go. So I think that's as far as we will take this until I have the needles repainted. And I think that's what we're going to do now. And then I just wanted to show you real quick. I've already messed with this a little bit. So yeah, in this location, this was all broken and was just filled with goop, with epoxy, and then a sheet metal screw run into it. And what I tried, I drilled out this hole to make it fit a heat insert, and then I used a soldering iron with a specific heat insert installation tip here, this one, and melted it into the plastic. I don't know how long this is going to last. This one here was even worse. This was all broken into pieces. I'm going to fill this with plastic bond epoxy, fill this all in, and then I'm going to try to drill this out and do the same deal here. We'll see if that works. The rest, they don't look great. There are a couple little hairline cracks and whatnot. And then once I'm done with all this, I'm going to try to paint this here on the inside. This is supposed to be a kind of a light gray. And I bought a rattle can paint that kind of matches this. I will brush it on most likely just to cover up the imperfections. All right. Let's do some needle painting. So needle number 1. And now let me see if they are identical because I don't want to accidentally mix them up. I just dropped something. So speedometer, tachometer. I don't know if they are identical. They look identical, but this here is, I'm assuming, kind of a balancing or balancing weight. So I don't want to mess this up. And I also don't know if the two little pinions that go in here, or the shaft axle that goes in here, if that's the same size. So somehow I have to manage to keep them, not mixing them up. So here's my cleaning technique for the needle. Without bending the needle itself, I'm just rubbing or wiping it off with rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. The paper has a little bit of roughness to it, takes off some of the loose, flaky paint, and degreases it at the same time. Just no bending or breaking. You can see how that orange paint is coming off. And I think that's all I'm going to do. The black little cap here. Okay, so to keep them straight, I'm going to use my black paint that I still have here and put a little dab, if I can. No, I can't. I'll put a little black dab on the tachometer. That's a lot. That might actually affect the weight of the needle. That's tachometer, that's speedometer. Okay. Here are the screws. No big deal, just that. And now we're going to go and paint those. All right, guys, so piece of cardboard. I stabbed the ends of the bottom of the needle into the cardboard. This here is some automotive grade masking tape, which we're going to try to get over the black cap. And we need to cover the end there as well. So let's see what we can do there. Okay, that would work. Okay, see if you guys can see what I can see. Yep. So the paint I have here is Rust-Oleum, and it has this fancy spray nozzle, and on setting 3 it says low output. So we're going to spray him with this color, and we'll see if that looks good, and if not, oops, if not, we are going to wipe it back off. I'll let it dry a little bit and give it another misting, and that's probably going to be it. I don't want to put too much paint on it because that also has weight to it, which might mess with the calibration of the instrument. So we're just going to dry this a little bit. I guess I'll get my heat gun. Okay, couple more light mistings. Okay. Okay. That might be it. So now we have 3 thin coats of paint on those things. And all we can do now is let it sit until it's fully cured. I will let this sit for a moment, and then I will come back and take the masking tape off before it fully cures. And then give it a day or 2, and then we can reassemble. I just don't want to have this paint all tacky. Let's take a quick close look at it. Yeah, that looks pretty promising. That looks pretty promising. Alrighty guys, that's it for now. So here you can see this is the little filter screen taped on. So we want to be careful. There's also a little gasket, foam gasket around it, probably to get to keep stray light from getting in there. And now I'm just going to hold onto this puppy and use a fresh Q-tip and some water and just clean off some of the schmutz. This is a painted surface, so you don't want to go on there with, look at that, there is definitely something coming off. You don't want to go in there with too much cleaning power, like solvents and whatnot. Now there's definitely dirt coming off, so I'm always turning it to the last clean spot here. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It's going to be under a relatively scratched up crystal or glass. I mean, it's not even glass, it's acrylic, I think. The original is glass, but when I got the bike, both glass covers were broken. And then the replacements that you can get these days are all plastic. Grab a clean microfiber rag and dip that in water. And I can kind of do a larger surface at once. And then I can use a clean corner and dry it off quickly. Yeah, that's a little better. There is still some debris here, but I don't want to go too wild on this and then eventually rub off stuff like the white paint of the numbers and such. Or the red paint here. Man, our weather here is crazy. It's so windy outside. I'm always afraid that my stick-built house here is going to fall over, you know? Germany homes are built out of brick and mortar and concrete and not 2x4s. So this looks pretty decent, I would say. I think I'm going to leave it like this. This seems to be also dented a little bit, so I don't know what has happened to this poor little thing. But I think maybe that one little stripe here we're going to try to remove, and this little dot. Not super thrilled about the quality here. Oh, better. Yeah, this might have been a part before and someone wasn't super gentle with it. Okay, now we're going to grab the other one. And I just noticed that under the speedometer, we have this plastic ring. And under the tachometer, that's missing. So I wonder if it's missing intentionally or someone forgot to put it back in. Or it was broken or something. All right, let's grab a fresh Q-tip. I just quickly looked at a parts diagram, and on this parts diagram, it is not shown as an individual part, but in the drawing you can see that only the speedometer has this clear diffuser part. So I think I'm not missing anything. If you look at the difference now, yeah, let's zoom in a little bit. There is a little bit of a cleanliness difference, I would say. Okay. Just a little scrubbing here with a Q-tip.
5 minutes later.
All right, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. I guess we can also clean this clear plastic here. Same method. I don't want to go on there with any kind of solvent. We are just removing the dirt, and water is actually pretty good at that. And then we're going to flip this over. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my microfiber. All right, that looks pretty good, I think. So here, let's start with the restoration, at least of this one screw hole there. I showed you those heat inserts. This is the drill bit, which will make the hole that's equivalent to the size that you need for this heat insert. And I'm going to try to not use a machine, but rather drill this by hand. So this is a little drill bit holder. And I wonder if my drill bit will fit in there. Oh, it doesn't look good. It's a little on the large side. No, it won't. So this is for really small drill bits, also for jewelry and for watchmaking, that kind of stuff. So we're just going to try to do this by hand. Very little pressure. We're just going to open up this hole here to about the size. We might actually be able to do that with machine. I'll do that off camera here real quick. Oh. Okay. Yeah, that didn't go too well, so this piece is broken off again. So now we're going to go the epoxy route and call it a day. This is not going to work for us. I'm going to clean this off one more time with rubbing alcohol here so that epoxy will stick to things. And then we're going to glue this together, fill the void here completely with epoxy, and then drill it out. All right, guys, so piece of masking tape. May and the wind is ripping the house down here in a second. So what I bought is JBL plastic bond, world's strongest bond. We shall see about that. And it comes in this syringe type thing. So when you open it up, you can actually close it off again at the end. You're just squeezing out equal amounts of epoxy. Yeah. And then you close it off. So supposedly you can keep that for a long while. And then you mix it until it's one even color. Mix, mix, mix. I don't know how fast this, 15 minutes, so we have a little bit of time. And here is our repair spot. It's going to dry to a light tan, they say. And we're just going to fill this all in, hopefully without any air. I wonder if we have to maybe do multiple layers, because that is pretty thick. I guess I'm going to leave it like this. As you can see, it's relatively filled in, but to build it up a little, this is really thin, I gotta say. This is really thin. Other epoxies that I've worked with are a little bit more thick.
Many hours later.
All right, guys, so it's the next day. I have been working on this a little bit more off camera. I just wanted to spare you the agony. So yesterday we looked at, where's my pointer? Here's my pointer. We looked at those broken off screw locations. Here I was able to just use my specialty soldering iron and melt one of those heat inserts in there. Here, this whole outer section was broken away. And then I just ended up mixing my JBL plastic bond and layering this on. So first filled in the biggest part, then another layer, and then I just carved it into this round shape. I mean, of course, it doesn't look anything like the originals here, but I made it big enough so that I could drill into it, and then actually large enough so that this heat insert would just plop in there. And then I epoxied that heat insert into it. I had to close off the bottom hole of this heat insert with a tiny little piece of masking tape, just so that the epoxy wouldn't squish out into the threads. And I just glued it in place. This doesn't really hold all that much. I mean, it just holds the instrument in place and the cover in place. As long as I don't crank on this like a 190-pound gorilla, this should probably hold for the rest of the life of this housing. I looked online, $230 or so, I can buy a new one. So if I ever feel like it, I will. And then also here, I mean, this housing is all black ABS plastic. I scraped off some of the loose paint. There is paint coming off. This paint is really terrible. Here, this stained section, it's actually the paint that looks like this. This doesn't come off with any kind of cleaning. It's just horrible. And I bought a can of some light gray, kind of similar in color. And we're just going to take the can, shake it up. And then I'm going to spray some paint into the cap and then use a little touch-up brush and just brush some paint on the black spots just to, you know, and also cover up my ugly repair there. All right, my wife is going to be really happy that it smells like spray paint in here. All right, so I just have a little bit down in there. And let's open a window. I brought some paintbrushes, I thought. Oh yeah, here. So I have another one of those little ones. It is really tiny. We'll see how far we can get with this. If that doesn't work, I can use a bigger one. Oh, let's just not dump the paint out. Oh, that's really watery thin. I've already wiped this and cleaned this with rubbing alcohol. Oh my goodness, yeah, that doesn't look very good. That's what you get for a $5 spray can. The paint is not very thick. I guess we will have to... All right, here, hold on. I'll go and shake this up a little more and get a little bit more. It's Max Flex, wood, metal, vinyl, and more. So this is what that is. That was the cheapest gray color that I could find. All right, I'll be right. Now, after the fact, I thought I should have probably bought some plastic primer. And I don't know what kind of color plastic primer is, but maybe it would have been a light gray or so. Yeah, I gave the can a little bit more a shake up than before. That seems to have made a difference. Nowadays, most of those Rust-Oleum and Rattle Can brands, they always say primer included. All right, I'm just going to touch this on. I'll speed this up for you guys and then show you the final result. All right, guys. So I managed to paint this up. I spared you the agony. I think it's a good 6-footer. So from 6 feet away, it looks pretty decent. And while we leave this alone, I figured, I don't know if you guys can see how scratched this all up is. This is acrylic. So this is not real glass. The original from back in the days, that was glass, actual glass. But, you know, this doesn't break as easily as glass. Acrylic can be polished. There is a product in the watch world called Polywatch, and that stuff pretty much takes those scratches right out. You can use them for your sports watches like your G-Shocks and whatnot. Pretty inexpensive. If I remember, I put a link down below if you want that for your G-Shock or whatever. Just a little blob on there. I would take those rubber thingies. You know what? Let's just do it. If it breaks, I'll buy a new one. Here we go. Or else we're going to get this polish all over the rubber here. I have a video out where I'm gluing these on. It was kind of a mess. And then afterwards, this little gap here wasn't big enough to actually receive the rubber. So then I used the Dremel to open this up. So this has already seen quite a fair amount of modifications. But yeah, here, Polywatch. Let's see if we can make this look a little prettier. There are some really deep scratches. I don't know how long I want to spend on this here, but just a little bit. Let's put a little bit more Polywatch on there. See if we can see a difference between the left and the right side. Just a little elbow grease. Yeah, there are some really deep gouges in here. I don't even know how I managed to do that. I never touched the surface, really. Or maybe when I'm cleaning it and I'm not careful enough to make sure there are no rocks or whatever. All right, let's wipe this off with a microfiber and see if that already makes any kind of difference. It looks like it's scratched from the inside too. So this one is the polished one, and I don't see any major improvements. I can't believe that it's scratched from the inside. Am I going to clean this from the inside? I don't think so. And really, honestly, when I'm riding, I don't notice it. The scratches, I mean. So I don't know if I'm really going to polish this here 3 hours to get the scratches out. And on the inside, I'm worried that I'm just going to cause more damage to the gray paint. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it takes all kinds of black stuff off. I guess there's, oh, here's a black ring painted on. Yeah, that's on the outside, not the inside. Okay, maybe we'll call it a day. Yeah, it looks a little better. There's a couple really deep gouges. And if I would have cleaned the inside already, yeah, some of that stuff is definitely from the inside. Yeah, it's a little different. Let's do the other side as well. I'll spare you the agony of watching me do this. So, yeah, it's a little better than before. Now I'm going to try to gently, without rubbing my fresh paint off, just clean the inside. I have those lens wipes from Zeiss that are for your glasses or your camera lens. Gentle and thorough cleaning. Well, let's see. Just a little cleaning of the actual inside. Yeah, there's some pieces stuck up in there from my grinding and cutting, and yeah, that's great. See, watchmaking tweezers can scratch acrylic really quickly. Yeah, I think that's as good as it will get. I'm gonna try to get the stain out of the glass here. I think I got it. It's pretty good. It's better than it was. Okay, and now we can put these old rubber pieces here. They are not even that old. They're not BMW parts. They pretty much lasted 3 years and they are already all cracked and bad. But it's ridiculous how expensive they are. So if you buy an aftermarket, you might get it for like 20, 25 bucks a piece, maybe on sale 19 or so. If you buy it from Siebenrock or one of the more reputable, oh, there's actually a notch. Here's a little notch thing that needs to line up with a groove here in the housing. So if you buy one of the more reputable brands or suppliers, then you are at like 40 bucks per piece. $40 for a ring of rubber. I mean, come on. That's too expensive. Like, I just looked around for this housing here yesterday just to see how much I will have to invest if I want a new one. So here in the States, it's 230 bucks. Siebenrock is one of the manufacturers that makes these. And in Germany, on the Siebenrock webpage, it only costs 169 euros, which is kind of equivalent to the dollar. So there's really no major price difference. So I've been contemplating if I just order one of these days, send it to my mom's house, and next time I'm on vacation, I just pick it up. I know not everyone can do that. They ship to the States, but then you have a $35 shipping charge, and so then you are already at over $200 again. And then the other thing is they have the version that is in German. So instead of having brake fluid, it says Bremse up there. And then, I don't know, generator oil is Öl, which is OEL. So you would have a slight different version. But they look great. I mean, they improved the materials. They make them more UV resistant than the old stuff here. They come with those new visors. You can also get them with a white ring or a black ring painted on the acrylic. So, I mean, this here is pretty old looking, right? Pretty ugly in a way. But it still does the job. So again, here's a little nubbin and here's a little groove. And you just line the nubbin up with a little groove. Without breaking the old rubber piece, which is already dry, rotten. But really, the purpose of this whole project was not to absolutely bring this to pristine conditions here, but rather make the speedometer and tachometer work better so the needle doesn't do this. Blah, 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 blah. And I have a, like a copy of a GoPro that I can snap on my helmet. I will see if I can maybe take my bike for a ride when we have it back together and see if I can record this for you guys. So you guys actually see if this whole taking apart, ripping it all apart, and then lubing this up has any kind of effect on anything. Okay, let's rip off another lens cleaning wipey. I don't know. Now it looks worse than before. Yep, that's how it goes. I could probably have also washed this thing. I mean, it's ABS plastic. Wash the corners, get all the dust and grime and dirt out of the corners here. But really, honestly, I'm probably just going to make it worse. Stuff is going to come off. We're going to leave it alone. So, the needles that we painted yesterday, they're still here on my cardboard. The paint is dry to the touch. I'm going to be very careful and remove them and show you what they look like. Not perfect. Nothing's perfect. I wonder if you can buy them new. All right, gotta go wash my hands now. So, needles. Yeah, they're way more orange now. Then so the tachometer needle still has a black dot at the bottom, I think. Yep, that's the tachometer needle. And now we're just going to reassemble things. So let's start with the tachometer here. Let's get my little support. Like that. Yeah, I messed up. I have a chemical bluing pen that you can use for gun repairs and whatnot, and I thought I blew this instead of having it rusty. Now it looks even uglier, but nobody is going to see it. Nobody's going to see it. So we're just going to take our dial. That we already cleaned a little bit, at least tried to. Put that back on there. The screws don't look so great anymore. With these two here, I made the mistake to I put them in the ultrasonic cleaner, and I shouldn't have, really honestly. Okay, let's see if we can get the screws in there without dropping them 27 times. Yeah, that's what I thought. We're really close to the needles. I really do not want to break those. So pushing them back on a watch, you would use a hand installation tool that helps you push the needle perfectly straight down onto the shaft. So tachometer, where's the black one? Here we go. Yeah, the needles look pretty good. So now we just need to put them on while it's leaning up against its stop. Okay. Again, watch trick here. They use what's called Rodico, which is like blue tack, kind of the stuff that you can hang your kids' posters on the wall. This one here is a dirty used piece with dog hair on it. My goodness. And you just, it's very tacky. And so you can hold the needle and then, you know, kind of aim for your position. Yeah, that's as hard as I want it. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Color is pretty good. And it goes to a full stop. Right? So let's do a little twist test here. So that seems to be all doing what it's supposed to do. So let's do the same with the other one. And of course, I had to grab something greasy with my finger cuts. The finger cuts are just to keep your fingerprints off of a watch dial or a speedometer, tachometer dial. Let's see if it does that fit in here. Yep. Oh yeah, by the way, if you are going to attempt this, this is a Schedule 40 2-inch fitting, like a coupler. So you can buy that at your local home improvement store. All right, dust out of it. Now we're going to grab, this is like one of those little dust protector. I don't even know why I did that. I don't think it really did all that much. And they are not really pristine looking anyways. I have some sort of cancer here on the side. Yeah, right there. And that didn't come off, and I didn't want to overdo it either. And then here, this plastic piece. You have to, oh, I see the bottom is really dirty. I wonder if we are supposed to clean this off. All this, oh yeah, this is dirty. Okay, I have very gentle Zeiss lens cleaner. I don't know if that maybe on a microfiber rag will take that off without much fuss. Oh yeah. It's like grease or like something smeary. Okay, much better. So again, you have to line the holes up, of course, obviously. Nope, not lined up. So like that. What's this now? Oh, here. Somehow doesn't fit. Or does that go up above here? Maybe I have to turn it 180 degrees. Like that. Yeah. So this little visor piece needs to go up above the odometer, not the trip meter. Or else it will not fit. So let's grab the little screws here. Didn't clean those. They're just as they were. I'm not sure. On the other ones, there was some sort of paint on it, on the threads. I'm not sure if I should have put some Loctite on there, but yeah, if I see a screw coming out, I will take it apart again. Hello? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Pretty nice weather outside, even though it's cold. Click and click. And now I'm just going to look if this looks all lined up. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, looks pretty good. So now we can reassemble all together completely. There you go. I'm going to give the housing here one last puffing. There any chunks still lying around in there? Oh, hold on. Too fast. Heiko needs to put the next needle on here. So we're going to do the Rodico trick again. Okay. It goes to a stop. So that's good. That's what it's supposed to do. And now I'm going to push on it a little more. Just don't overdo it, because you can also bend the little shaft, and then that wouldn't be good. Okay, I think that's fine. This one up here looks a little blotchy on the head there. I'm going to try to wipe this without getting on anything else. Blotchiness removal. We're going to use the lens cleaning again. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it looks a little better. Still a little blotchy, but I think that's all we can do. All right, let's start the assembly. So let's think about it. So this side here is where, oh, again, too fast. We took the gasket out. We need to put the gasket back in first. So the gasket is still in pretty good shape. Like I said, I had this apart once before. We're putting the seam of the gasket here at the bottom. And now we're going to look for a small flathead screwdriver, because we need to push this gasket in behind those little nubbins. And we don't want to stretch the gasket because it's just the perfect length. I think I had to actually cut it a little bit when I installed it first. And then at the very end, we can glue this in place with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. So you want to make sure you get that nicely all the way around, not stretching it. Yep. So I have a bottle of regular super glue. I'll dip my toothpick into it. And then we're going to try to put ever so slightly a little bit of super glue on those ends, and also in the location where I want them to be held in place. And then we're going to push them in there. Hello. Kind of like that. That's good enough. And now we're going to continue with what we were trying to achieve there earlier. Take the tachometer, flip that upside down, and stick it in. One last thing that I have to accomplish today is buy a few more of those screws, because now we have proper thread inserts everywhere again. And so we should... Oh, this fits really well. We should be able to completely eliminate the use of those not self-tapping, but like sheet metal type screws. Okay, and I'm not going to over tighten anything, because this is all very brittle, and I don't want more of those inserts to come loose. Yeah, that's good. So before we can finish, I have to go to the hardware store. They, the company that makes KATDASH, the LED. Oh wow, what's going on here now? My modified plastic piece here is getting a little in the way. Yikes. Okay. What are we not getting in here? Yeah, so they sell screw sets for this as well. So they pretty much sell all the pieces you might need to restore or make your... Now I can't get this in here anymore. Is this because of my epoxy buildup? Oh, yeah. Oh, we're getting it in, I think. Yeah, I just needed to... The upper section is a little fatter than the original because of my inserts there. And let's see if the holes actually line up. Looks like it. Should be able to get some screws in there. So I built up this epoxy section and then flattened it out at the top, and then I dropped in the speedometer and marked it with a pencil to drill in the correct location. Looks good. Surprising, really. Okay, that is in. Let's do that one. Good. Now let's not make it too tight. And then the next time I have to take those out, I'll break it all into pieces. All right, so let's put the... Oh, it goes that way. That direction. So this little flappy here is an LED that has to go into this white plastic piece here. Slide it in, and then you can hold on to the whole contraption here by using those pins, and then just wiggle it in place. And then we're using more of those same screws. Hey, and then we drop. I wish I would have a magnetic screwdriver. Not magnetic. Pretty good so far. We don't know if it's going to be working though. I'll try to record it for you guys somehow. So giving you the confidence that you can take your speedometer and tachometer off your /5/6. I mean, this year is obviously from a /6 BMW. So now we're completely out of screws. Oh, what's going on here? Why is this screw still in here? Oh, I see. Okay. This has come out a little bit. Make sure your gasket is in place. That's very important. Here, just wanted to point this out. This is also a foam gasket. I think I got this from KATDASH as well. So KATDASH sells this electronic piece and then all the gaskets and the screws. I should have bought some screws when I had a chance, but I guess now I'm going to go to a regular hardware store and see if this is metric, obviously. I'll tell you what size it is in millimeters. Millimeter. Really easy. If you ever wonder, the outside diameter is the metric size. So here 2.89, obviously that's M3, so roughly 3 millimeters. And then the pitch in a metric screw is literally from one groove to the next, the distance. This would be hard to measure because it's so tiny, but you theoretically on a bigger bolt, you can measure the distance from one thread to the next, and that is your pitch in millimeters. Okay. So tighten that. That's good. And now how many do we need? 1, 2, let's start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or no, this is some sort of self-cutting into plastic, I think. 2 more of those screws and then we're good. I'm surprised I don't have any more. I already checked last night. So project is on hold until I get some screws. I will do that right now. And then when I get back home, I will finish this with you guys. Put the last bit on there. This cover here is also a little mangled. Here's a glued back together. Screw is permanently stuck in the corner there. Yeah, right there and right there. But as long as it's holding on, I'm not going to replace it. This is really just a dust shield, so to speak. Yeah. So yeah, we need to put a screw in here. Let's see if we... This is probably these two here. That one and that one. In plastic, you should always turn it left. And when you feel a click, then the screw has fallen into its old groove, so to speak. So you're not cutting a new thread. Just turn it left bound a little bit or counterclockwise. And then when it clicks, then you start screwing it in. And it goes into plastic, so don't overdo it. So here is 2 more into plastic and here is 2 more into a thread insert. All right. So let's put the super glue away and get the rest of the paint here out of the room so it doesn't smell so bad. All right, see you later, guys. All right, guys, so here is what's going on. I went to the hardware store, found the exact same type of screw, which is an electroplated metric machine head screw with a Phillips head. But then I figured, you know, since I'm already there, let's look if we have any stainless steel. And they did have stainless. Not with the machine head screw head with Phillips, but with a button head. So a button head socket head, so to speak, and stainless, which will prevent corrosion, but they can kind of get seized up in other metals due to friction and whatnot. And so I decided to just briefly or quickly take this all apart again. And then I'm going to put a little bit of my super lube, this silicone lubricant, on the stainless steel screws just to make sure we don't get them stuck in there. And then we're going to put some stainless steel in there. I know it's not the correct screw head. The only ones they had were M3 by 10. The ones that we needed here are M3 by 8. And I didn't want to shorten 12 little screws. So I just ended up getting the socket head. Hello, come out. Come on out. Here we go. This one here is a little stuck in there. Go. There you go. And yeah, so I mean, they are galvanized and all that, but they can start corroding. And that is the reason why I actually have broken thread inserts, because the original screws, they were all rusted in place. And then I guess someone tried to get them out and completely mangled everything. So when I got this, this was already mangled. Now we just unmangled it. And we're going to put some stainless steel screws there with a little bit of lubricant on it so that this will not happen again. And then maybe this little plastic housing here is going to last another, yeah, let's say 20 years. We'll know in 20 years. And I'm wondering if, so I don't even know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Yeah, okay. I don't know if I bought enough. I took all the ones they had, so we'll see. Let's just start off. So now we need super lube. Oh, we still have that sitting here. So each little screw is just going to get a little smear of grease on there. That's all we're going to do. They're the exact same length. Oh, seriously? They're the exact same length as the other ones here. And the head size I compared so that it actually fits into this opening here. And then we're going to snug them up. That's the next one. All right. So as you can see, we have stainless steel, at least for the exterior screws. I unfortunately don't have enough to also hold the, what you might call it, the KATDASH LED module in place. I just looked at this, pretty dirty. I think I want to clean this off a little bit before we put it back together. So I just cleaned this off a little bit. You know, the bugs are going to get stuck to it anyways. And now we just need to get this back on here. There's one screw that's permanently stuck in there. We'll see if we can get this on here without breaking it even more. Because I don't know if they make a, yeah, they probably make a replacement for this. I'm not sure though. I haven't checked. Do I have another screwdriver that's maybe a little bit more appropriate in size? Yes. Okay. So these are those. Oh, no. I go back, 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. I forgot those two, since I had to take it all apart again. And they go into plastic, as I mentioned. So we're being very gentle with snugging it up. Snug, snug. Now we can put the cover back on. Let's check one more time. We got all the screws, yeah. Okay, and now we have a few more of these that are kind of like sheet metal screws with a flat head, kind of a, you know, countersunk hole. And only ever so slightly snugging it up. And are there more? No. That's it. So I have good news. We have this all back together. Now we can, oh, this is already cracking here, I think. So maybe ease off of it. Let me see if I can find a new one. This back cover. Just wanted to show you real quick. This is siebenrock.com. So they're a company out of Germany, but they do sell to the States with international shipping. Here's a front cover with all the hardware, all the little screws and a gasket, and even those rubber rings for 179 euros. But they charge 35 euros for international shipping. So I don't think you would save much. And I have not been able to locate a brand new, the dust cover on the back. So yeah, back cover is not available. So I guess since we now have everything together, we're gonna go down to the garage. Yeah, this is kind of a sad story here with those cracking. I might have to look for one of those used. All right, I'll see you